Hey, Tony Gas is here, popping in. Now, going through some of the talks with Tony and really just looking for the ones with a lot of details. I don't really have the time or the patience to, read the whole thing and then go through it. So what I'm kind of doing is just seeing how long it is. And if it's long, that lets me know we at least got some details. So, right now, y'all know I have to do it for a little season, take a break from it, do it, take a break from it. We get a lot of the same answers in different ways. So understand that titling these is always hard as well. But on this one, we're going to jump on in here now. Give me 1 second. Let me invite the Lord in the room. All right, we have invite the Lord in the room. Dear TG, I moved from Georgia to Las Vegas my last year of high school, and I met a boy. I was 18. Shortly after graduating, I moved back to Georgia. This boy and I kept in touch and spoke just about every day until I was 23 when I moved back to Las Vegas for good. Then we started to hang out every day. He'd detail my car, pump my gas, take me out, and we'd occasionally hook up. When he would get into a relationship, I'd respect him and get distant, but his relationships wouldn't last, nor would he keep me distant during them because we were best friends. It was rarely about that for us, mostly just laughed and hung out. We love arcades and we're really good at claw machines. Also, he's super into cars, so we'd also go to a lot of car meets. But whenever I start talking to someone, he'd get jealous and really horny and catch feelings and start to want to catch feelings and start to want me. I knew it was out of jealousy and would mostly ignore it, but since I had all of my needs covered by him, I never really took other men seriously and wouldn't stay long. We didn't have that a lot, just occasionally. It was always few and far between and always initiated by him. Last year, I became a flight attendant and had to move to Colorado. Anytime I was off, instead of traveling and living my best life, I'd go home to see him. He'd pick me up from the airport and we'd go eat or do something, and he'd always pay and take me out. I was close with his friends and his business partner and the folks at his shop who would always ask him how he pulled me because we all agree I'm way out of his league. We'd assured them we were just friends, but I knew he loved taking me out and around his friends to show me off before I dress up and act like that be. Whenever it was time for me to go back home to Colorado, it was always bittersweet. We got to miss each other again, and he'd take me to the airport and we started to kiss goodbye, which was weird for us because we'd call being emotional and intimate with each other being gay, and we'd make fun of it, but do it anyway. This didn't start happening until I moved away, by the way. It was happening more and more. On one of my trips home, he wanted to take me on a small vacation to California. We tried to go to Disneyland, which he loathes, but I love. Loathes. Y'all forgive me how I say it. But the tickets were sold out completely for a month. So we stayed downtown LA and went to a Dodgers game, again, that he paid for. Let's just say he paid for most of everything because he has his own business that pays him very, very well. And I was there when he was working on cars out of his garage. This is where things get confusing. While in LA last October 2021, I got pregnant. Surprise. I was very excited as he was my bestie and we always talk about him being an uncle to my kids and picking them up from school and such. Now he gets to be their dad. Also, a doctor told me when I was 20, I wouldn't be able to have kids. And he knew of this, so I was super, super excited. We found out early November. I took a pregnancy test and gave it to him. That very moment marked the end of us. He felt disgusted by it and refused to acknowledge it. I had to go back to Colorado and he didn't take me to the airport. When I get to Colorado, he told me it's a problem and we have a simple solution. Get rid of it. He sent me $600, then he blocked me. I felt the lowest I'd ever felt. I couldn't believe what had happened. The only reason we'd had sex was because he wanted to, and it was just convenient for us since it was only with each other and we trusted each other. I had to Venmo send money to him with a message inviting him to my first ultrasound that I was doing in Vegas, and he unblocked me to tell me to not to speak to him or his family and deal with my problems on my own. Because he was so upset, I decided to get rid of it, especially him making it clear he would absolutely not be in its life, and he refused to sign the birth certificate and did not want it to have his last name. It was obviously a difficult decision for me to make, especially since this could be the last time I would be pregnant. Once I emailed him and told him I would do it, he came back around. He took me to the place and helped me decide we would do the pill. We used a lot, but it was just me. I was in it alone, though he was physically next to me. After the horrible, painful situation and a lot of therapy, he decided we didn't need to be friends anymore, and he was going to move to Atlanta, Georgia to own a used car dealership. He told me not to bother trying to call or text him anymore, and he was going to change his number immediately. I quit my job and moved back home because this was all too much. That's how I found you. I searched for answers, something to tell me if he'd come back or why a man would do this. I watched so many, probably all of your videos, and I've learned so much, and I kick myself for all these things I did wrong. I will never be just friends with a man again, and I now have the secrets of how their minds work and what they want when they do such and such. He is still paying all my hospital bills, and we communicate only through email and only about the bills. Tony, I miss him. I know he can never ever be in my life again, but I need to know your take. Please, will he come back one day? Will he realize what he did to the one person who was loyal to him? Will it hit him one day? I can't believe he never cared, because he once even drove 5 hours to Arizona to get me when I swallowed some river water and got sick. It was 10 hours total on the way back, we stopped, placed, and bought trinkets and knickknacks. Also, when I moved back home from Colorado, he flew to Colorado, helped my care, and he drove the whole 12 hours back to Vegas. Helped me pack my car, maybe she said. Again, y'all gotta forget the typos, human, normal, and I'm trying to read through them. Again, we stopped every time I saw something cool and we'd buy stuff and eat. He flew to Salt Lake City when I was doing flight attendant training, and we explored Utah. I lost my best friend, and I think I started to fall for him. I just want him to one day miss me. I know I shouldn't care at all anymore and just let him go, but it's so hard. Now it's August 2022, and I work for a better airline, and I volunteer at church, and I'm practicing abstinence. You have taught me to not have sex until marriage, and let me tell you, the Lord agrees. I bring him into every decision, and he's brought me your videos for guidance. Can you give me something on what this man would thinking and what he might possibly feel later on in life, please? Well, thank you for sending this here in. And I saw your name in another thing, and this is your picture. Now, I can't really, now with the picture, racially ambiguous, pretty, still, acquired taste in the sense of you're a pretty lady, but at the same time, every man sees something different in somebody. I could see how you could be a catch, all your features are standard, normal issue features from God. Nothing is, you know, different or out of the norm. They all go together. It looked like you take care of yourself very well. So when you say y'all all agree that you were a catch for him, sound like maybe he could be a little looks challenge. To me, you look Hispanic or black and white. I'm trying to see if this guy in Georgia or Vegas. Or you moved from Georgia to Vegas. You met a boy. And then shortly after graduating, you moved back to Georgia. So here's the thing, is y'all were off and on, and you're a great person, you're a nice person, but he doesn't love you. He likes you. You are an escape. And that's what we have to realize with these friendships and these friend situations is a lot of times they don't work for a reason. And that's why I tell you, men and women can't be friends, because eventually somebody gonna catch feelings for the other person. And if it's not mutual, it can cause a lot of problems. And so what happened here is you a catch for him, so to speak. But the fact that y'all off and on and y'all not really together, then he doesn't feel like you're really a catch. He feels like you're a good time and you're a great person and he likes you. And what men like to do, that's what you have to understand about men, is a lot of men like to be needed. And so a man will fill up a roster of women, and a man will have different women in different categories. And a man will go out of his way and do something crazy for a woman or for anybody, because as humans, and it's not just men actually, as humans, it makes us feel good to be needed, and it makes us feel good to be able to do something for somebody. So when he flew to you and helped you pack your car and then flew back, and when he drove to you 5 hours to get you and drove back 5 hours, it's less about you, or it's as much about him and him getting some stripes in heaven and him being pleasing in the sight of God for being a good Samaritan, for being a good person. It's equally about that as it is what he's doing for you. And so with that, you have to know and understand that this was a situation to where it was a long lesson. It's a long lesson. And I know it hurts, but it's just a life lesson. And it's not, I don't think he's gonna feel anything later or down the line. I think if his situation with the woman he's dealing with or the man he's dealing with doesn't work out, he could come back to you out of boredom. But I feel like he has met somebody that probably has it just a little better connection. And we don't know what that connection could be. You're a flight attendant, and so you're flying around and things like that. I don't know what the flight attendant pay is, but let's say he met a woman who looks almost as pretty as you, or maybe she is as pretty as you in his eyes. Now I'm talking about from him. Now don't think I'm saying you pretty now. So even though I said that, I'm just you're the Lord's child. God loves us all. Everybody look good when you're right in here now. So now listen. So based on how he's looking at you, here's the thing. A man can see a woman. A man could look at a woman and this woman is pretty. And this woman could have one thing that's quirky about her or that's different about her that may be an acquired taste. And then, but overall, he thinks she's pretty. And then another woman could come and be the same on the look scale. But this other woman could have an asset that is more attractive to the man than the first woman. So if the second woman, let's say the first woman has nice breasts, and the next woman is equally pretty in her own respect, but she has a nice butt, and the man is a butt man. Now it takes and gives both of these two women who would be seen as both pretty in their own respect. The woman with the nice butt is seen as prettier to him overall because he's a butt man. And vice versa if the man is a breast man. You see what I'm saying? The other thing here is a man could be into a woman, but the woman could have one thing about her that just throws him off a little bit. And that one thing could be anything. It literally could be anything. Anything, literally. It could be how a woman's private area looks, which could be totally normal, but it just could have its own look. It could be a woman's breath. It could be a woman having hair on her legs or under her arm. It literally could just be a single pet peeve. And the way men are, a man will pass on that woman. He will pass up on that woman for another woman who doesn't have that thing. But both based on the face could be equally pretty. And so there's some other things. Now, if this man, you found me, you writing into me, you didn't say this man's race, I'm guessing this man is black, because typically when women of other races write me about a man, they write me about a black man because I'm a black man. But if he's not, if he's, Hispanic or something, one of the things could be is, I can't tell what your race is. So, but I know that you're not African American. Or you could have African American in you, but not all the way completely like from Africa. There's some other things in there. And yes, everybody be talking, Africa got all kind of look. Listen, hush, we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about that tribe over there that they from Africa, but they white. And they were born and raised in Africa. Listen, we ain't talking about that, okay? And so we talking about the rule. But let's say this man, his mom is hard on him about the color or the race of the woman. And so you could be almost everything for him, but this other woman just will fit in better with his family. He's hearing less flack from his family about this other woman, and it could be because of her race, which could be a different race than yours. Regardless of what his race or nationality is, that could be another reason why it just wasn't a perfect fit. The other thing is the fact that he could sleep with you basically when he wanted to. Y'all got together, y'all hung out, everything was cool and chill, but when he wanted to make a move, he made a move and you slept with him. It could have felt too easy. It could have felt like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It could have felt like he wasn't having to really work for you. He was able to sleep with you as a friend. He was able to take you to the airport and kiss you as a friend. So he could have looked at that as, men don't trust women. Men don't believe women. Men don't give women the benefit of the doubt. So, and a man on average doesn't put himself on a pedestal and say, oh, she's doing this because of me. So as the man, he's looking at it as, okay, if I'm taking her to the airport when she's in my city, who's taking her to the airport when she's at home? If we both say we are friends and we say that us kissing and us acting like a couple is in your term, in y'all term, gay, which is, basically when you're using it that way, you're using it synonymous with lame or corny. And so y'all need to stop doing that, because that's disrespectful to the LGBTQIA. They done added an IA on there after they added the Q. And that's disrespectful. And because don't y'all have me counsel be saying that. So y'all need to stop. So if y'all look at it like that, but you allowing him to sleep with you, to kiss you, what it sends a message to him as is, oh, she doesn't have standards. She doesn't have requirements. And so men, because men don't trust women, he's going to assume that if you're sleeping with him in Vegas, that you're sleeping with another man in Colorado. So essentially he starts to just look at you like a piece of butt. He starts to look at you like, you know, like a jump off friend, like a escort that he's friends with. Now I'm explaining to you the male perspective on this. Whereas if you would have just had him strictly as a friend, he can't touch your butt, can't touch your breast, he can't kiss you, he can't sleep with you, y'all legitimately friends, it would have made him respect you more and see you differently, and he would have had to take you serious if he wanted to be with you. And so that's what you got to realize and understand on this. And then you have to understand that you played yourself. So you really didn't want him, but you was dealing with him. And for you to say that you are a catch, that means you look down on him. He knows that and he feels that. So for you to say we all agree I'm a catch, it's really also you saying this is charity. I'm doing him a favor by being in his presence. And you said, you know, he would show you off. And the sentence say, we'd assure them we were just friends, but I knew he loved taking me out and around his friends to show me off before I dress up and act like that be. And so I'm really not sure what that means, but it kind of sounds like that when you dress up, you go to another level and you act like you on another level and you kind of look down on him or treat him differently. And so it sounds like to me, he is like Lil Ugly. He's like the ugly duckling in your eyes and his friend eyes compared to you. But being able to kiss you in the mouth, being able to sleep with you, it made him feel like the swan. So now he got money. And you didn't just say he paid very well. You said he paid very, very well. So now a man who could be a 4, with money, he gonna be an 8 or a 9. So now he can get a woman who looks on your level, but she makes 6 figures or more. If you make 6 figures as a flight attendant, I don't know what a flight attendant make, but she make more money than you. Or she may have a different race than you. Or she may have a different personality than you that he feels is more fitting to his personality. And so with that being the case, it's something in there that has made him put you in a box in his mind. And that's why when you got pregnant, it just goes to show he was using you for the fun, for the fling, for the practice. And when you got pregnant, things got real. And so he did that poker play to where he hit you with a poker face. What I mean by that is a man who does the things that he did for you, like driving 5 hours and drove 10 hours for you. He flew for you. He got a business. He made good money. He dealt with you all these years since you was 18. A man who will do that, that man would have been in that child's life. But he played a card, you know, that looked like he was all the way real, all the way legit with that play. Like, I'm not gonna be there for you. I ain't signing no birthday, ain't doing nothing for you. And it worked. You know, he was bluffing, you believed it. But it's good though, because you don't wanna, you know, you want to make a choice that's right for you. And I ain't judging you. I know we've got a lot of judgmental people that gonna judge you about that, but that's on you. That's between you and God. And I know that it's a lot of pain that you got to live with, and you express that in here. So that could be punishment enough in itself, let alone had you brought the baby into the world and then he literally did treat you like crap, and then you going through postpartum, but you also getting cursed out or ignored or dogged out by this man who tried to force your hand to not have that baby. So that's why I say to y'all, especially with the Roe v. Wade stuff and all that, that's why I say I don't feel comfortable judging somebody about what they do with their body and what they do with, what's growing inside of them, because I would not be able to forgive myself if I made somebody feel terrible about that decision, and then them having that baby they ended up taking that baby life or taking their own life. So when I look at the two, I would much rather something that does not have a functioning brain and moving around and living and breathing in the world. I would rather that be, dealt with that woman than that woman losing her mind because of her bad choices. And I know a lot of us, a lot of people just unforgiving on that. Like, oh, you shouldn't have been sleeping around. Oh, you need to deal with it. I don't care if you're homicidal or you're suicidal. Go get therapy. You shouldn't have been sleeping around. Ain't none of us God. Ain't none of us God. And so if God will forgive somebody and he throw out all of our sins into the sea of forgetfulness and remembers them no more, then we can't pick and choose what sin can be forgave and what sin can't be forgiven, because we are not God. Sin is sin. And so I know it's a lot that come with that. So he played that role. He got you to back down off of that. You did it. And you're in this situation. What I would tell you is stop waiting on him. Stop worrying about him. Stop thinking about him. Stop hoping he come back. You do not need somebody who will sleep with you unprotected and then run from the consequences and try to make you feel, coerce you not to have your child and have you murder something inside of you, and you have to live with the psychological damage from that and the emotional damage from that. That's a man who would make you do that. That's not the type of man that you want in your life. Especially, that's not your husband or anything like that. He had no real reason to push you to that point. That's not the type of man you want to be with. So what you need to do is you need to create a routine, workout routine, sleeping routine, eating routine, healthy music routine, journaling routine, meaning you need to give your days direction. And you need to be so intentional about your days and your time and about getting new knowledge, learning and growing and healing, so that you can start to move past him and the thought of him. But if you just going to work and coming home, you're going to be thinking about him every day, all the time, and you're never going to be able to move on. So you got to fill up all the gaps of the 24 hours that God give us, to where you don't have any just junk wasted time, so that you are intentional and you are productive and proactive, and that's what's going to heal your heart and help you get over him. So understand that he ain't what you want. You played yourself. Don't play yourself like that again. Don't ever be a man friend. You be in or you be out. If a man don't want to be with you, then go on about your business, because just like you said, because he met all your needs, you never took anybody else serious. So this man was never your husband, but you ran off your husbands, men who could have been your husband, because you had already checked the box of masculine energy, masculine help, and man from a friend. And that's why I tell y'all it's so dangerous being friends with a man, because when you friends with a man, you end up going to that man and leaning on that man and getting stuff from that man that will then make you not want those things from somebody who is your husband, who could be your husband, or who is your husband. And that's a mistake women make. But the man who is the friend, he is your friend for a reason, because he don't want to be your husband. He was never intended to be your husband. And if he was your husband, you wouldn't even want him. And so, but the grass looks greener on the other side, and that's where we go wrong. So, hey, this Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.